So I want to talk more about coming to meetings and why you need to have lengthy conversations with people about the importance of coming to meetings, right? And what it says about us when we don't come to meetings, or we're inconsistent when it comes to meetings, right? So back to my point, what I was talking about after Shaq came off, we are going to educate you in what you need to know, right? If Josh does really well, then I do better. That's how our system is. The better you do, the better I do. So if I run trainings where you guys aren't learning and getting educated in what you need to know to be successful, then I am an idiot and I'm not going to grow. And I'm not an idiot, right? So what starts to happen is people make their own decisions. They do want to win in Primerica, but they make their own decisions on whether they need to come or not. And what that is saying is, I know what I need to know, and you guys aren't teaching it in these meetings. So once in a while I can miss, or I can miss altogether, or I can come sporadically, right? What that is saying indirectly is that you think you know what you need to know, and I'm telling you you're wrong. That's what people don't understand. You don't know what you need to know. You don't know. You don't know that maybe coming to Top Gun, coming to training and seeing Top Gun, and you're repeatedly not on the board, you don't know if that's what's going to drive you. You don't know that yet. You don't know if it's going to be Rod coming up. Maybe if you're a little older, seeing someone your age. Maybe you're a little younger, seeing someone your age, how that's going to affect you. Or the story that someone is going to tell about someone getting cancer, or someone teaching about sales, or someone teaching a new avenue, right? Whatever it is, always remember, the trainings are not the entire hour. I'm not saying all of that will be applicable to you. What I'm saying is you are showing up for that one thing that you can potentially get, that you can use, that's helping you grow as a person. And you keep coming and you add one thing and another thing and another thing and another thing. And yeah, it's not overnight, but maybe in 6 months, maybe in 8 months, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 12, right? See, here's the thing about how I see things. And I talk about this a lot. Any challenge, let's say, is this size, right? When something seems difficult for you. So let's say here we're talking about getting clients, and you're like, I don't have any clients, I can't get any clients. That means that the challenge is bigger than you, right? So this is you, this is the challenge. Maybe it's recruiting. I can't find anybody. And all of that is a lack of activity, right? Mm-hmm. What does it really come down to? You can be really unskilled, but if you talk to enough people, you'll get results. Right. So then we get to another psychological issue of why am I not doing the activity? Why am I not, whatever. But anyways, whatever the challenge is, we can associate it with a number. Like let's say finding clients is an 8. If you are not good at it, that means that you're a 3, right? And what we believe here is that what our philosophy is eventually we can train you to grow bigger than your problems, right? And when you are bigger than your problems seem small. That's how you want your life to be. Anything that's stressing you out right now, anything that you're not productive in, anything that is you feel under pressure about, what that means is you are small in that area and you need to outgrow that issue. How does that happen? From being around people and being in environments that are conducive to you growing in those areas. Not escaping and sleeping in or going out, right? What do people do? It's a destructive cycle. I miss training, screw that, and I'm going to go out tonight. And you start rewarding yourself when you should be punishing yourself. I love to buy nice things, go nice places, eat nice meals, wear nice things. But if my numbers are down and my team isn't where it needs to be, I promise you, right? You guys don't see it, but I scale back on a lot of those things because I understand the reward punishment system. And that's why Primerica inherently, you got to believe in yourself that you can get better if you keep showing up. You got to believe in yourself, man. People quit too early. They say, this is too hard. What you are saying to yourself is, I'm not good enough and I can't be good enough to overcome this challenge. You got to believe that you can. That's why we parade these people in these big events and in these trainings that come from nothing, become something to show you that you can do it too. And inherently, our system believes in people because this process from going to this, you can take as long as you want in Primerica. That's what makes us different. If you want to sit in our trainings year after year after year after year until this happens, you can do it. I will never fire you. I will never let you go because we believe in people. But you got to believe in yourself, man. And part of that, how it happens is you showing up. And the reason why I write people off a lot of times that don't show up, and this is not directed at anyone. These are just things I think about, right? Some people don't come here, but they're on Zoom or whatever. I like you in person, but if you are out of state or you have some issue, at least you're on Zoom. Okay? But the reason why I write people off who miss trainings altogether is because the showing up to me is not really a challenge, right? So if you think about it, I'm looking at somebody and I'm like, well, the showing up is like a 1. Business has a lot of challenges, man. A lot of problems. Primerica is an easy business. There's no upfront capital. You don't have employees. You know, we don't have a lot of macroeconomic things that are affecting our business, our production. You know, the government's not after us. Our business is easy. You run like a real business, there's a lot, every single day you're solving problems. And here we're trying to train and develop entrepreneurs in like an easier business, right? And if you're not showing up, to me, that's a 1. So what does that say to me about the size of that person? It's like, dude, if you can't figure out this one.
Yeah.
You can complete the sentence. All right. Let's get into some product stuff. You know, when I started in the business, I was just had a lot of anxiety, right? I had the same fears as everybody else that if I didn't know what to say, you know, that made me really nervous. If someone's going to ask me something I don't know the answer to. So what I would do is I would organize my thoughts in a way that would help me feel more prepared. And I think that you don't have to write all this down. I just wanted to show you a visual of what I had in my notebook before I went on appointments. And I would think to myself, all right, when I go and I do an appointment with someone, there's really only 4 scenarios that I'm going to face. And I would organize my thoughts in these boxes. Right? So where do you work? Yeah. Okay. Is that government? Is that federal? Okay. So if I go and someone says, hey, I have an appointment with someone that works at the architect of the Capitol, I know that they fit in this box here, and I can start to organize my thoughts in terms of what conversations we're going to be having. Who else has a job in here? Jeff, where do you work? Huh? Okay, what is that, a corporation? Okay, so I know that he has a corporate job. These are the things that I'm going to be talking to him about. Meacham, where does your mom work? Okay. And who is her employer? The one she retired from.
Yeah, she worked for the psych board.
Okay. So, exactly. Right? Fairfax County. I think. Right? So she's county government. So I know these are the conversations. And then if someone runs their own business, then that's a different list of things that you are going to be going over. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Does that kind of make sense to you? Right? Instead of being like, the reason why you guys aren't independent is because you still think that the clients know more than you. If you felt you knew more than the average client, and no matter what situation you were coming in, that you knew just a little more than them, you wouldn't be as intimidated. What I'm telling you right now is it's actually not that hard. You can prepare even before you meet the person, as long as you know where they work. So before I go on an appointment, my number one question is, where does that person work? Where do you work?
For
AT&T, right? So that's corporate. So if I work in corporate America, right? Or if I'm sitting down with a client who works in corporate America, what do I know we are going to discuss that day? We can discuss a lot of different things, but the main thing is I know that if they don't have private life insurance, that we're going to be talking about group life insurance. So I'm going to get my thoughts together in my mind. Like, all right, this guy works for Collins Aerospace, and that company probably has group life insurance, and he's enrolled in that company's group life insurance. Now, if Josh sets an appointment with you and he's a trainee, he may ask you like, hey, where do you work again? And then he'll report it back to me. And guess what? I can do a quick Google search and I can find out some information on the benefits for Collins group life insurance. Now, imagine that when we start doing the appointment and I start giving facts on his benefits the first time I meet him. These are the little things that make a difference. You know, when we used to drive to appointments, which we don't do as much, when we used to meet at the person's home, I put the home in Zillow. I know when they bought it, how much they bought it for, what the value is today. It's all public information. But what do I know about group life insurance, right? What do I know I'm going to be talking about? Number one, probably the most important thing is that it's not portable. The most important thing with group life insurance is that if you leave your job, you can't take it with you. That is number one. And some policies say that they are portable and you can take it with you, but the terms are completely different when that happens. It's not the same product you have right now. If you're paying $17 for $500,000 and yeah, your policy's portable, you're telling me it's still going to be 17. You're not part of the group. How are you getting a group discount? You're gone. Did it convert to whole life? Did it become a term? How many years? Is it level? So the point is the lack of portability is very important. And why is portability such a concern when it comes to life insurance? Because people don't work for the same company for 30 years. Not anymore. It's actually not smart to. Why? Because the way that corporate people give themselves raises is by switching around. It's widely known that if you work for a company for 10 years, a new hire in your same position is going to make more than you. So why would you stay? So I'm sitting here with a 32-year-old. You're going to be working till 65. Statistically, you're going to change jobs another 5 to 7 times. Right? I always say this to my clients that why is group insurance cheap? Because statistically, you're going to work there for 5 to 7 years. Imagine how cheap a 5 to 7 year term is. Think about it. That's how they're thinking of it. They're not thinking they're insuring you for 30 years. They're like, he'll be here for a couple of years and he'll leave. So I know we're going to have that conversation. Go to the, look at this slide here, right? I pulled this up from my records. Anytime a client shows me something, I take a picture, I put it in my records, right? So are you able to make this a little bigger? Now, if you go down. What does it say? It says that if you work for this company and you have life insurance through them, that the cost changes as you get older. So for 10,000, right, this is how much it costs. Now, we think in terms of like easier numbers is 100,000. So 100,000 of coverage would be 10 times this cost. It's not a lot, right? But the point is that it goes up over time. A lot of people don't know that. They haven't been at the job long enough, or they're still young. They're not noticing the increases. But when you need it most, it can become very, very expensive. Here, if you can see down here, when you turn 60, it's $100 for 100,000. So how much is 500,000? $500. I bet if they got that policy back when they're 40 and it was a term, they would be paying, $80 for that coverage. You guys with me? So I know when I sit down with an employee, right, I'm going to talk about how I bet you didn't know the cost goes up over time. It's not portable. And then we get into a lot of the details, which is that it doesn't pay off in every scenario. Why pay for something if it doesn't cover every what if? What if you're injured? What if you're on bed rest? What if you get laid off? All these different things, group insurance doesn't address that. And the other thing we're going to be discussing is 401k. If you work for a corporation, you have access to a 401k. So I'm preparing myself to talk about that. By the way, you don't need an investment license to talk about retirement accounts. It's in the material when you're studying for life insurance, right? So what are we going to look at? I do want to see their allocation. Maybe that's not something that you're ready for, meaning how is your money allocated within the 401k? But I want to know, do you have an old 401k? Normally when sitting down with corporate employees, right, they've had multiple jobs in the last 10 years. I want to know, what did you do with the 401ks with your last couple of companies? Because I want to manage those accounts. There's no point in leaving it with a company that you're no longer employed at. We can roll it over in an IRA with me, and that requires a securities license. But in terms of stuff I'm going to ask them about, also, what is your match? Maybe you can look that up before you meet with them. What is the match? A lot of times people don't know. They don't know what the match is. They don't know what they're contributing. Sometimes appointments are good for clients because it at least forces them to look into things that they hadn't looked into in the past. So if you have a 6% match, how much are you putting? If they're matching 6%, you're putting in 6%, they're matching 6%, good. If they're matching 6% and you're putting in 2%, why? You're losing out on free money. But if they're matching 6% and you're putting in 10%, you are over contributing. And now we have to see, is there a better utilization of your money versus putting money in the 401k? Do we qualify for a Roth IRA? Can you explain a Roth IRA? In a 401k, when I retire, the entire account is taxable. In a Roth IRA, when I retire, the entire account is tax-free. Why does that matter? It matters because I help my clients figure out what their retirement income is going to be. So they have a pension sometimes. They have Social Security sometimes. Let's say the pension is $3,000. Let's say Social Security is $2,000. And then they have some type of retirement account with money inside of it. If it is a 401k, right, and we take out $2,000 a month from the 401k, this is all taxable. These are all taxable. So what happens sometimes is this amount of money right here, it puts them into a different tax bracket, because here they're collecting $5,000. When they add what they're taking from the 401k, that's $7,000 a month. That's a certain tax bracket. But if the same 2,000 a month was coming from a Roth IRA, right, it becomes non-taxable. So they're only being taxed on